A warm welcome to everyone. This module is going to discuss about the management of airlines and airport. In this, we'll be discussing on the types of different airlines and then different components of an airline, and as well as the components of an airport, and what are the major functions behind that. So first, we'll be going on with the different types of airline. So we have two basic classification. One is based on geographical coverage, and the other one is based on business model. Based on geographical coverage, we have international, national, as well as regional. But while talking about the business model, we have four categories: full service, low cost carriers, charter airline, and cargo airline. So while we are discussing about the different types based on the business model, full service airline, they offer almost all types of services, including checked-in baggages, meals, and then additional facilities like business class and economy class and all that. Whereas low-cost carrier is contradictory to full service. They don't offer all the services. The service offered is mainly the accommodation in a flight, where the other services like in-flight meals or baggage allowance, everything the passenger has to pay an additional cost. And talking about charter airline, this is also called as holiday carrier, where this provides service to the passengers on a tourism perspective. And we have cargo airline, which is also called as flight carriers, which is mainly responsible for transporting the cargo or freight on aircraft. And the next one is management of airline. How do the airlines manage themselves? The major four factors which is taken into consideration are financial management, route planning, marketing, and customer service. Financial management. When we talk about financial management, we discuss on how the airlines have to be started up and what are the operating procedures and about the depreciating costs. So finance is basically involvement of money. So the cost. So the cost is like initially investment is very much needed, and for running an airline we have to calculate all that. So budgetary planning and all that. And on a long run, there'll be a wear and tear that is called as depreciation. Depreciation can be in terms of the aircraft machineries and all that, as well as the market share also. So everywhere the financial aspects have to be managed properly. And the second one is route planning. What is this route planning? The route planning discusses on the planning that is involved for proposed routes for the flights. The flights will be like traveling in the predetermined destination. So we have to plan accordingly. Which routes are we going to take our airline? So that will be involved in route planning. And the third one is about marketing. So any airline, not only airline, any product, only when it is effectively marketed, it can sustain in the market. So that is another key factor. And customer service. When all these three are planned efficiently, then obviously the resultant would be a very satisfying customer service. And the next one is revenue management. These are the four strategies which is like the given in different phases, especially by the Amadeus software. So Amadeus, all of us know that is a CRS software. So this software has designed as like a restart, discovery, ramp up, and new normal. These are the revenue strategies which is mainly suggested in post-COVID scenario. So what should we do when we are restarting an airline? Because now that there is a kind of crisis and downfall in airline, so how do they restart it? So when we are restarting, what are the basic perspectives? The passengers will be like very scared. They'll be have more fear in traveling and all that. So when you're restarting, what could be the strategies you can apply? And then gradually, when it is taken to the next stage of discovery, we have to analyze what the feedback of the passengers will be analyzed, and then the price sensitivity, whether are they accepted towards the price, everything will be discussed in the discovery stage. And then the third stage is ramp up. Ramp up is something where gradually the airline will take back its form, and new normal, which is the stage where everything will be again falling into the normal form, which was before COVID. So these are the strategies. So this will give a clarity on how an airline can revive itself in the post-COVID scenario. And the next one is airport management. Previously, we saw about airline management, and now talking about airport management. What is this involving? Mainly involves within the airport how the physically management has to be taken care, as well as how the airlines can be operated within the airport. So the main functions involve managing, supervising, coordinating operations and maintenance of the airport. So all these are the major functions. So when all these functions are efficiently adapted, it makes sure that the flights are operated very smoothly, and then the quality services are given to the passengers, and then the flights will take exactly on time. It will be taking off and then landing. There'll be no kind of delay in flight and all that. The security will be properly enabled, and even the commercial outlets like duty free shops and all that, everything will be in a proper organized manner. So all these are the major functions involved in management of airport. And the next one is, this is the part of the aircraft. In tourism, do we really need to learn about this? It's not that you need to learn technical aspects of it. If there is a plan for working in an airline, especially in an aircraft, inside the cabin crew. Cabin crew is something where the crew of members working within the aircraft. So in that case, we need to have a basic idea about what are the different parts. Starting from the technical term, which is used as aeroplane, is based in British English, and airplane is used in American English. So since in India we follow the British system, we normally use the word aeroplane. So that is the another name for the aircraft. And here you have fin, rudder, tail, elevator, tailplane. This picture will give you a basic outline in a very layman term, wherein this is again a kind of a technical aspect of all the different parts, just to have a basic idea. The cockpit is what? That's a place where the pilots are seated. And so these will give you an information, like when you're learning about airlines in detailed manner, you'll know, okay, these are all the different parts. So that will give an additional information about the functioning of aircraft. And then aircraft turnaround. What is this aircraft turnaround? This is nothing but the time required to unload an airplane after its arrival at the gate, and the time taken to prepare for its departure. It's nothing but, you can simply say in a layman term, that the parking duration. Now, what we normally call as a parking. So whenever an aircraft lands at an airport, it takes time again for the departure of the next flight. So the duration in between these stages, that is called as aircraft turnaround. Why we need to discuss about this aircraft turnaround right here? Because sometimes an aircraft takes less minute, like 25 minutes minimum, for unloading the passengers and the goods, and then taking the passengers and the cargo inside. So minimum 25 minutes to maximum 90 minutes for one turnaround. So during this stage, what happens? A particular airline can have a chances of loss being incurred due to the parking duration. In the sense, when we are parking in an airport, the airport fees has to be incurred, leasing cost or depreciation, fixed cost and all will occur if in case the aircraft is grounded in the surface for a longer run. So the more the duration an aircraft is parked at the airport or in the runway, the more the cost is incurred. It's kind of a loss. So every airline should plan in such a way that the aircraft turnaround duration can be minimized to the maximum possible. The less the duration of the aircraft turnaround, the more the profit for an airline. So this is a basic important technical factor which need to be understood. And the next topic is about components of an airport. Why would we need to know about the airport components? Because in an airline, if you're working, it's not that only within the flight you'll be working. Like you'll be like on the airport also, many a times you should know what are the different terminologies which is used and what are the usage and benefits of all those. So here we have runway, taxiway, apron, terminal building, control tower, hangar, and tarmac. So these are the major components of an airport. So when we're talking about runway and taxiway, there are certain differences between runway and taxiway. Runway is something which is called as the land strip on which the landing and takeoff operation happens. Whereas people always confuse the term runway and taxiway. What is this taxiway? Is that similar to runway? No, it is not similar. Taxiway is a path which connects the runway with the terminal area. So runway is something which is directly connected to the aircraft, whereas taxiway is connected with the runway towards the terminal area. So what happens is, it is like in a picture we can be able to see. The first picture is the complete runway, and then wherein the second picture, The flight aircraft which travels through is called as runway, and there is an arrow mark towards its right is taxiway. So taxiway can be simply called as it's a connecting path between the runway and the terminal. Terminal is nothing but a physical building in the airport. Okay, that is taxiway. And the next one is hangar. What is this hangar? Hangar is something where it is a closed building structure. So now in the picture we can be able to see it's a closed building structure where the aircrafts are stationed in that. So this is mainly for kind of some repair works or sometimes like, to protect it from weather like rain and all that. And sometimes you have cyclone, hurricane and all that. So during that time, this closed structure helps to protect the aircraft. So that is called as hangar. And these two hangar is based in India. And the second picture is an Indigo flight which is stationed at New Delhi. So most of the airports have this hangar also as part of the component. And the next one is tarmac. Tarmac is where exactly the planes are parked. It is something like the normal tar road which we normally come across. So the pictures will exactly show you what is tarmac. It's like simply can be called as a road within the airport. Okay, runway is different from tarmac. Runway is only for taking off and landing the flight, whereas tarmac is where exactly they are parked in the airport. And the next one is the terminology. So tarmac and ramp are the terms which is used commonly, whereas apron is a term officially used. Okay, it's nothing but the meaning is almost the same. So tarmac has evolved from the earlier time. It's kind of historical evolution says that tarmac was initially established in 1800 based on the invention of a Scottish engineer. So based on that, the term came. But this apron is now which is used officially by all the technical personalities and all that. Okay, that is apron. And the next one is control tower. What is this control tower? This is also called as tower control or simply as tower. So most of the important functions of the airports are taken in this control tower. So it's just like controlling the entire functions of an airport. So what is the main responsibility is the environment in the airport is completely taken care of. So the flight safety is ensured and then the runways is made sure that runways are clear so that no accidents happen, and then the taking off and landing is clearly taken care, and communicating between the aircraft as well as the airport, everything will be taken control by this control tower. In a simpler term, we can say that this makes sure that the safe and the comfortable travel is ensured within the airport. So the coordination between aircraft and the airport is done through the control tower. And the next one is airport access. Airport access normally within the airport, not all the places have access for passengers. There are a few places where the access is also restricted. That is called as restricted zone, or it can be also called as sensitive areas. Okay. So which are all the areas which is more sensitive and restricted is tarmac, which we have already seen, right? Tarmac, hangar, data centers. A data center is where the sensitive informations are stored about the passengers, about the airline, everything. And traffic control, there's nothing but the control tower and all that. So that is also kind of a restricted area. And while boarding and deplaning, it's made sure that there is a proper security enable features are there so that unauthorized persons will not be allowed and all that. And even in baggage claim areas also, there is more of control and restrictions so as to avoid smugglers and terrorists. So these are all called as sensitive zones or restricted zones. And next one is, these are the basic facilities that can be offered within an airport. The first one is air traffic control. It's a service provided by the ground-based controllers. So that's the first one. And second one is immigration. Immigration is where the people are given permission to enter a country as well as they'll be removed from the country also. And the customs is nothing but whatever the goods you're taking from one place to another is properly scrutinized, checked, and made sure that that can be allowed. So that is where all your goods and services which you're carrying from another place is checked, and then you're allowed to take it in. Without declaring the goods, many times you may not be allowed to take the goods within a country. And the next one is pre-security zone. Pre-security zone is nothing but the check-in counters and the restaurants, retail stores and all that. So these are also there. So before the security, you have all these. And after the security features are over, then you have duty-free shops and then airport lounges, baggage claim and all that. And the basic facilities which is offered for passengers is nothing but the bank and then money changes, ATMs, foreign exchange, and then medical services. All these are the services that can be offered within an airport. So these are all the basic facilities that are provided in any airport, regardless of whether it is international or domestic. Mostly immigration is in international, but otherwise these facilities are offered in most of the airports. And the next one is the landing facilities. So landing facilities are common for almost all the passengers, whereas you have some difference between like a passengers, special passengers and normal passengers. What are the basic facilities offered for departing passengers is check-in facilities, security clearance gate, passport control and the gate. So here check-in facilities is nothing but the baggage and then dropping of passengers and all that. Security clearance involves like a protection of the passengers, staff and then the crew, the employees of the airline, aircraft, and as well as it's made sure that the airline or the airport is out of terrorism, crime and all that. And passport control, obviously. So whenever you're traveling from one country to another country, so passport control is being made sure you have proper visa and all that, proper reason, everything will be cross-checked. And the gate, here gate is nothing but the waiting area for passengers. You, before boarding a flight, there is an area where you'll have to wait and then get into the flight. That is the gates. So these are all the facilities offered for the departing passengers in any aircraft. And the next one is special passengers. As I mentioned, special passengers are those who are given additional attention compared to the normal passengers. So who are all the people who will be given additional attention? Medical passengers who have gone for any surgery or any illness or hospitalization. So this would all be noted even before the travel. So during the travel, additional attention is given to these passengers. And disabled passengers. Disabled passengers can be physically disabled as well as the mentally challenged. So in all these cases, they have an additional flight attendant who will be taking care and who will be giving an additional input. And there is also another category called as VVIP, who are like a kind of some important people in diplomats or any kind of embassy people or those in politically influential position and all that. These people are given some additional attention compared to the other normal passengers. And pregnant passengers, like they are made sure that they should be able to travel only between certain months to certain months. So care is taken that they abide to those procedures and accordingly the pregnant women are allowed to travel. And unaccompanied children, that's a category where the children between the age of 5 to 14, if they are traveling without accompanying an adult, then the airline will themselves take responsibility and then they'll make sure that the children is safely dropped at the particular country or the city, whichever is destined to. And deportee. Deportee is a person who have invalid immigration documents or who are also sent back to the country. So they take necessary care that that person is properly dropped back into their own country. So all these people are called as special passengers, where an additional attention is given either in the form of an individual attention by a flight attendant or any specialized services. And the next one is the special passengers. What could be the basic attention assistance that can be given is individual attention is given from the time they implant to the time they deplan the aircraft. And also efforts are made to ensure that in check-in process also, as well as in boarding period also, the employees of the aircraft, the employees working in the airport as well as within the flight, they give more attention and guidance. And baggage assistance is also offered, and sometimes the services can also be offered for free. So but for this you'll have to make sure that it has to be informed prior to the booking of the reservation, because if there is a special passenger traveling, even before making a confirmation of the booking, it should be informed to the concerned airline. And sometimes people might be allergic to certain foods and all that, so that also should be clearly emphasized and informed so that during the process of travel they don't get allergic to any consumption of food. And the equipments, medical equipments, wheelchairs, all these are also given for the special passengers. And they have various categories for wheelchairs within a flight. They have this terminologies, WCHR, it's a technical code So similarly, for each and every wheelchair, the category, these codes are used. WCHS for wheelchair, for steps. So sometimes people can walk to some extent and they may not be able to climb, wherein sometimes people can't even walk also. So accordingly, the categories also will change. They're completely immobile. They can't even take one step further. That is wheelchair C. So these are the three variations: a ramp, steps, and cabin. And then the stretcher passengers who will be like put on the stretcher and then they'll be carried in. And there is also category of blind passengers. So they'll be taken care along by the flight attendant, and the deaf passengers and medical case. There are people with some kind of ailments and all that. So they are also come under that. And all these like leg, what is it? LEGR in the sense the cast. Whenever they have some kind of fracture and all that in their leg, they'll have the cast which is being covered on the leg. So even those people will also get the wheelchair categories. Okay. So these are the services and the categories with the terminologies. And the next one is check-in facilities. So what are the basic check-in facilities? Nowadays, everything has become online, everything has become automated. So this online check-in facilities is available in the airline website. And sometimes even at the airport, you have self-service kiosk also. But now, of late, everything has become mobile oriented. So in the sense, it's very user friendly that even from the mobile, people start checking in, and then even they get the boarding pass also even in mobile through WhatsApp messages and all of that. So this is the check-in facilities. And the classes of service, what are the basic classes of service offered within a flight? First class, business class, and economy class. So now there should be a kind of an understanding should be ensured that this first class doesn't exist in most of the airlines nowadays. So, but initially when the airlines came into existence, this class of service was available. But now we have mainly business class and economy class. Business class is also called as executive class, which is very high in terms of ticket cost as well as in terms of the services also, like luxurious services. Where an economy class is something where it's kind of giving you the simpler service in a very reasonable and less cost. So that is economy class. So there's a picture over here where this is an example for economy class, where the seats are like very close to each other and they don't have much leg space also, and between the passengers also the space will be very less. So this is called as coach class. So mostly it has very less amenities, and the passengers sometimes they have to pay additional cost for the meals and snacks. And there is also another category in economy class, premium economy, where this is similar to economy but some kind of additional reclining posture, because many seats you cannot recline back, but these seats you can recline to some extent in premium economy class. So that's economy, whereas the next one is business class. So even with the picture, we can differentiate between the economy and business. Business is something where which has got more space, more comfort, more luxury and all that. And with this, we can decide that the cost will also be more, obviously, right? Economy will be less, business class tickets will be more. So what happens here is the quality service will be there, the food, drink, complimentary services, everything will be provided in business class. And then this is the called as cabin component. Previously we saw the aircraft components. Now you see the cabin component. The person who gives service within a flight is called as flight attendant. So in the picture, there is a person standing in between who is called as the flight attendant. And this entire interior portion of an aircraft is called as cabin. Cabin is a term which is used for the entire interior of the aircraft. So cabin crew. What is this cabin crew? The people inside this cabin. Listen, the people inside the aircraft. Okay, when you talk about career perspectives, there are two different categories: ground staff and cabin crew. Ground staff is a person working in the airport, wherein cabin staff, cabin crew is the one working within the flight, inside the flight. Okay, and as a flight attendant or the person who would like to work in an aircraft or in an airline should know these basic terminologies like emergency exit, which is the emergency exit, and then the window seat, and then armrest. Aisle, aisle is the space which you walk through. In the middle, whatever the space you walk through, that is called as aisle. And then tray table. Tray table is the tray which is attached to the seat behind. So all these are the basic components of a cabin. Okay. And the next one is in-flight services. What are the services offered within a flight? In the sense, while during the travel, there are many services like entertainment services as well as food and beverages. And now in entertainment, you have audio and video projection equipments also. In business class services, each and every one will have their own customized video and audio projections. In economy class, you don't have the customized one, but in business class, you might have all that. And you have games also within the flight, and Wi-Fi connection is enabled nowadays within the airlines. And digital technology, the virtual reality and augmented reality is all upcoming, and that is dominating the entertainment within the aircrafts. Okay. And the next one is, what are the basic emergency equipments that is used in airlines or an aircraft? So this is called as, with the pictures we can able to make out: smoke hood, oxygen bottle, fire axe, asbestos glove, fire extinguishers, oxygen mask, megaphone, ELT, and life jacket. So these are all the emergency equipments used within an aircraft. Okay. And so the smaller explanation of each and everything is smoke hood. I don't think I need to explain more. With the picture, you can know this is like a protective device. It's kind of a mask, okay, where it is help you to prevent someone like from fire or smoke. So when the more you inhale fire or smoke, what will happen? It will create a kind of suffocation and all that. So the smoke hood is used to prevent all that. And oxygen. Obviously, when you're traveling on a higher elevation, you need to have an additional supply of oxygen. So oxygen bottles are kept inside the aircraft, and that will help you to make sure that if you are suffocating with lack of oxygen, this is provided. And the next one is fire axe. So fire extinguishers and fire axe is mostly used in almost every organization, regardless of whether airline or any hotel or whatever. This is a basic first aid tool that is being used. And asbestos glove. So in terms like even in an airline aircraft, you use all these like cooking and all that within the aircraft. So this is for a safety precaution that is kept inside. And the next one is, along with the fire axe, fire extinguishers are there. And oxygen mask, it is made sure every seat you have oxygen mask attached on top of the cabin. So during an emergency case, the oxygen mask gets released automatically by itself. Okay, based on the necessity situation. Okay, and next one is megaphone and ELT. Megaphone is nothing but the loudspeaker which is used. Sometimes technically you're not having a connection from the cockpit to the passenger side, then this megaphone is also used. And ELT is nothing but the emergency locator transmitter. So these are the devices which helps to broadcast a sound on the emergency frequency. Okay, so all these are used. These are all the basic emergency equipments. So with this, like we have come to an understanding like what could be the different components in an aircraft as well as different components in an airline, how they are managed. So this module would have given more insight about the basic functionalities in an aircraft as well as airport. Thank you all for patiently listening to the video.